Hey, thanks for coming by, man. It's really happening. I'm just showing you what it's like when I first got in Scientology. Somebody gave me this book, this actual book, and I was like, hey, this looks pretty cool. I was supposed to go back to college. I was a hippie in San Francisco, as I told you, and I kind of looked like this, a little longer hair. And I had decided, okay, I'll go become an auditor because the auditors, it sounded like something you could do that was cool. So I show up. This is day one. I show up. I'd hitchhiked from Chicago to American St. Hill, which is in Los Angeles. And I walk up to the front door and I'm like, hey, man, I'm here to see, I'm not going to say his name, but Joe Smith. And, I'm like totally ready to see him. My friends in Chicago said, ask for Joe Smith. So I walk up and I'm like, wow, this place looks really weird. I mean, they got these big, huge pictures of L. Ron Hubbard all around. And I'm like, that's a little spooky. And they're all in these uniforms, Navy uniforms. And I'm like, I've been picketing against the war in Vietnam for years now. And, in San Francisco as a hippie. So now these guys, I come here and these guys are all in Navy uniforms. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's super organized. They're all zooming around, which I wasn't really against that. So now things are like really looking bad for me. And my friend said, hey, just you can crash at this guy's house in the valley. So I hitchhike out to the valley and I'm like, okay, man, they wouldn't let me in to see this guy. And the guy says, okay, well, let's smoke a joint. So I'm like, all right. And we start getting really high and we're goofing around and we're sure they're not going to call. I mean, the lady said, oh, he'll call you at 10:30. So I'm like, right. So we're goofing around. This is 1969. We're goofing around. All of a sudden, the phone rings, and I look at the guy, and I pick up the phone, and I go, "It's the guy." And my friend's laughing on the floor, like, "No way, no way!" And I go, "No, it's the guy." And so he says, "All right, he'll be out here, out in the valley, which is like a 20-minute ride, in 15 minutes." And so we both start laughing. It's like, right, he's going to drive out to the valley to see me in 15 minutes. And sure enough, 15 minutes later, the doorbell rings and in comes this guy. And he's like, you know what? Let's go back to Scientology. I want to show you a few things. I'm kind of like, all right, whatever. So I get in his car. We go back. He parks right on the corner of American St. Hill. And anybody that was there knows Henry's liquor store is right on the corner. And he buys a 6-pack of beer. And so I think, well, it can't be all bad. I mean, he drinks beer because they look so straight and robotic. I thought they probably don't even drink beer, right? But he got these beers. And so I thought, well, okay, it can't be all bad. Now, in those days, there were hundreds of people that were on course. There were like 200 people on the briefing course at the time, which is a big course. And they were all after course outside, kind of chatting and talking with each other. And and so I sit in the car with him and I go, why do they have up all those big pictures about that guy? And he said, well, don't worry about it. And I said, and how come they're in those Navy uniforms? They look really weird. And he goes, yeah, I know. It's a little odd, but that's their thing. It's not yours. Don't worry about it. And then the third thing was how organized they were. And he goes, yeah, I know. They're not what we're here for. I'm an auditor. You came here to be an auditor, right? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, let's go talk to the auditors. So we go over, they're all talking about, PTS and upstat and downstat and, DevT. And, they've got all these secret words that I don't know what they're talking about, but they seem like really nice people. And I think, well, you know what? Whatever they decide, whoever they are, and I remember the second I thought this, and I've said it many times, but it's tricky because I actually remember thinking, I don't care what they do. I want to be like these auditors. And that's like the second my critical thinking kind of shut down. And I was like on their side, going to go their way, their path, whatever it was. And that was the beginning of my own personal, real mind control, where it really was a decision that I made to kind of go their path. And that was the very, very beginning, day one. I'm going to take you through a few days of me in Scientology and what it's like. But this was day one. So, except I have long blonde hair. That's the only difference. And a different background. Here you go. Peace out. I love you guys. I still do. I did back then, and I still do. Have a fantastic day. Bye bye.